All right, let's talk about something real. Have you ever been so tired that sleep just doesn't touch it? I'm talking about this deep, bone-weary exhaustion that so many people with ADHD know all too well. But, it's something we barely ever talk about. So today, we're going to get into it. We're going to figure out what is really going on here.
People describe it in these really intense ways, like a fog that lingers behind your eyes, or a brain that just feels like static. It's that feeling, that sheer effort it takes to just exist, to just stay upright when you are running on absolute fumes, and you keep going because, well, you have to.
And look, if any of this is ringing a bell for you, I want you to know you are so not alone. This quote right here, it's pulled from the kinds of things you see 1,000 times over in online ADHD communities. It perfectly captures this feeling that so many people are going through. It's this silent struggle, and honestly, it really deserves a spotlight. Okay, so let's jump into our first section here and really give this thing a name, because it's so important to get this straight right from the start. This has nothing to do with being lazy. It's not a lack of willpower. This is real. It's neurobiology.
So, what exactly is ADHD fatigue? Well, here's a great definition for it. Think of it as this persistent tiredness, this mental and physical exhaustion that's directly tied to ADHD. It's your brain's self-regulation systems just constantly working overtime. And that means that normal, everyday tasks, they just drain way more energy. And the kicker? A full 8 hours of sleep, it just doesn't seem to fully recharge the battery.
And get this is what really drives home how big of a deal this is. A massive study found that 62% of adults with ADHD met the criteria for clinical fatigue. To put that in perspective, that is literally double the rate for neurotypical adults. So we're not talking about some rare fringe symptom here. For the majority of people with ADHD, this is a core part of their experience.
All right, let's move on. So the big question is, why? Why does this happen? Well, there's a really great way to think about it. Imagine your brain has to pay a constant energy tax on everything it does.
And this slide just lays out the difference so clearly. Look, we all get tired, right? But normal tiredness, you sleep, you feel better, it fades. ADHD fatigue, it is a whole different animal. It's that deep, heavy exhaustion that feels like it's seeped right into your bones. It's still there hours after you've woken up.
So where is all this energy going? What's causing this huge drain? Well, it's all this invisible work your brain is doing constantly, behind the scenes. Think about it. Every single time you have to force yourself to focus, or you have to bite your tongue and hold back an impulse, or even just trying to filter out the noise in a coffee shop, every single one of those things is a withdrawal from your energy bank account.
I love this quote. It just sums it all up, doesn't it? It is the price of having a brain that has to think about literally every step it takes. That's it. That's the cognitive price you're paying every day, just for having a brain that has to work that much harder to navigate a world that, frankly, wasn't really designed for it.
Okay, pay attention, because this next part is where everything shifts. This is the big pivot. It's where we're going to completely reframe how we think about dealing with this exhaustion.
So, when you feel totally drained and unproductive, what's the first thing you think? For most of us, it's something like, I just need a better planner, right? Or maybe there's an app for this. We think we just need to manage our time better. That's the solution, isn't it?
Nope. Wrong. And this is the absolute key takeaway. The problem isn't your schedule. It's not your clock. It's your battery. You've got to stop trying to manage time and start instead managing your energy. And to really get why this is so important, let's borrow a little concept from physics called entropy. Basically, it's the idea that everything, your car, your house, your own body and mind, naturally tends to fall apart over time. It moves towards chaos. To fight that, to keep things running, you have to actively, deliberately put energy in. And for a brain with ADHD, which is already dealing with a higher cognitive load, well, this isn't just a good idea. It's absolutely non-negotiable.
Okay, so if the name of the game is deliberately putting energy back into the system, how in the world do we actually do that? Well, that's what this next section is all about. Real, practical ways to actually refuel your tank.
So, step one. The absolute foundation for all of this is structure. I know. Structure can be a scary word, but stick with me. We're talking about building simple routines around the 4 big pillars of your body's energy system. First, consistent sleep and wake times, and yes, that means on weekends too. This helps stabilize your internal clock.
Second, mindful nutrition so you can avoid those awful energy spikes and crashes. Third, the right kind of movement, the kind that builds you up instead of wearing you out. And finally, getting some sunlight in the morning, ideally within an hour of waking up. Seriously, this one is a game changer for setting your body clock for the entire day. Let's zoom in on the food part for a second. We hear eat a healthy diet all the time, right? It's easy to tune out. But can what you eat really, truly make a difference with this specific kind of burnout? Well, the science is pretty clear. Absolutely yes.
Just take a look at this chart. It's from a 2021 study, and the connection it shows is just undeniable. See that? As the consumption of healthy food goes up, the symptoms of burnout go down. It's a clear inverse relationship. This isn't just a nice idea, you guys. This is data.
So what are we actually talking about here? What kind of food? Well, the study pointed to some specific things that were linked with lower burnout. We're talking fresh veggies, fruits, and berries, for stable energy and antioxidants. White meat, like chicken and fish, and low-fat dairy products. These all help support your brain's chemistry without making you feel all sluggish. The whole point is to give your body consistent, quality fuel and to get off that blood sugar roller coaster that makes ADHD fatigue so much worse.
All right, next up, movement. And the most important word here is controlled. The goal is not to go out and destroy yourself in a high-intensity workout. No way. It's about building energy, not spending it. For a brain that's already kind of overstimulated, gentle, rhythmic movements can be incredibly calming and grounding. They help regulate your whole nervous system. So think things like walking at a regular pace, maybe some yoga or tai chi, or even some light resistance training. These things will actually give you energy, not take it away.
And our final step here is all about managing your inputs. Remember that energy tax we talked about? Well, a huge piece of that tax comes from sensory overload. So you can actively conserve energy with some really simple life hacks. Pop on some noise-reducing headphones to give yourself a little bubble of quiet. Ditch the harsh fluorescent lights for something softer. Tidy up your desk, because visual clutter is totally mental clutter. And a big one, schedule little sensory resets for yourself. Just a 5-minute walk, or even just closing your eyes for a minute in a quiet room. Every one of these little things chips away at that cognitive load and saves you a ton of precious energy.
Okay, let's pull all this together as we wrap up. What we've been talking about, this isn't just a list of random tips and tricks. This is about installing a whole new operating system for how you live and work. And here's the beautiful paradox that can honestly change everything. For a brain that's often dealing with a lot of internal chaos, adding external structure might feel like it's boxing you in, but it's the exact opposite. It doesn't confine you, it frees you. It frees up all that mental energy you were using just to stay afloat, so you can finally use it for the things you actually want to do.
So if you remember just one thing from all of this, please let it be this. It's time to shift your focus. Your main job is not to be a better time manager, it's to become an expert energy manager.
And I just want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. What if that exhaustion you feel, that deep in your bones tired, what if it isn't a sign that you're failing? What if it's not a moral failure at all? What if it's actually a signal, a critical message from your brain telling you that it's time to stop fighting against it and finally start working with it?